Hi, how are you today? Today I thought we'd talk a little bit about guilt because guilt is a really big part of having a child with a disability. Now, in my case, when Ryan was diagnosed, I had testing done to see if I was a carrier. And at first they said that I was. So you have that guilt that uh, it's your fault that this has happened. Even though people will tell you it's not your fault, you weren't to know, whatever, you still have that guilt. It's a really strong thing to feel. The next lot of testing that we had, which was years and years later, it actually said that I wasn't a carrier and that it was a mutant egg. All well and good. Where'd the mutant egg come from? So yes, you have that guilt, which is going all over again. And then there's the guilt that you have that it's not right that your child should die before you do. It's not the natural order of things. Just move my water bottle there. It's not the natural order of things. So you feel guilty that this is happening. And it's, I suppose, maybe a survivor's guilt. I don't really know what psychologists would call it, but it's the guilt that you're going to be here and they're not, and a parent is supposed to die before their child. Keeping that in mind, what happened was that, and I didn't realise this until this year really, so for 26 years I was putting on weight. I was using the weight almost like a slow suicide. I had gotten up to 167 kilos. And of course, when you're weighing that amount of weight, when you're 100 kilos overweight, you start having health problems. The health problems really didn't bother me because it was meaning that, there's a chance that I could die before Ryan does. And in recognising that this year, I had surgery last year to have gastric sleeve done to lose weight, but acknowledging and realising this year that really is what I was doing has been able to help me in accepting that and in losing my weight. So I've lost 40 kilos roughly, which is good. I still have a long way to go. From where I was at my heaviest, I am nearly 60 kilos lost. So yeah, you have that guilt. Then there's the guilt that people don't talk about. I have, because of how open I am, I have said this to people. This took a long while to actually voice, because this was probably the biggest guilt of all. And it's the guilt that you wish it was all over. You wish that you didn't have to wake up of a morning and do the caring role. You wish that your child didn't have to go through everything that they were going through. And you wish that the fighting that you do to get help, which until NDIS we were doing every year, we would fight to be able to get some help. And I have fought every level of government. I have not backed down when we were doing that. So there's the guilt that you wish that would stop, that life would be easier. Then there's the guilt that you see your friends and they're all going out, they're going on holidays, they're doing all the things that you wish you could do, and you feel guilty about that as well. And you wish it was over, but you don't wish your child dead. It's a situation that you wish was over, but in wishing that situation over, it means that your child is no longer alive. So there is that guilt, which is something that I'm voicing now, and so that other people out there, so that you know that you're not alone in thinking this. It's not wrong to think that. It's normal. And it doesn't mean that you're going to do anything to stop it. And it doesn't mean that you don't love your child. You do. You just wish that it was different. And you also have the guilt that your other children are missing out. We have tried our hardest over the years so that our children, our other two children, have had time with us. Yes, they may not have had as much time as a normal family, or that we would like to have given them, but we have done the best that we can, and they have turned out to be wonderful adults. And you know, there's that guilt though that you maybe could have done more, you could be closer to them. And then when something goes wrong that is, you know, might happen in a normal family where you may not feel a part of their life as much as you want to, or you feel that in some way you have let them down, then there's that guilt too, because you did the best that you could, but that they feel missed out on. That's guilt is the one that can tip you over the edge. A couple of years ago, I had a situation where I was feeling that I had let down my children, and I was in my car driving along the highway, and I was going to slam my brakes on and let the truck that was behind me just run over the top of me. The only thing that stopped me was that my father had been a truck driver, and all I could think about was, how is that person going to feel? And it was their feelings that I took into account in that split second. It was not even a long contemplation. It was, you know, under a minute. The thought of slam the brakes on, how will the truck driver feel, all just at one go. I pulled off to the side of the road rather quickly and rang my doctor's surgery. I have to say the girls in there are absolutely fantastic, because, you know, I was a blubbering mess and I'm saying I don't want to be here anymore, and from all that they could work out what was going on and were able to get me in straight away to see my doctor. Yeah, it's been a long road since then of acceptance that, yes, I did the best that I could. There is still guilt there at times, and I think you'll always have that. Like I say, everything is natural. You still have all the pressures of normal families have. You just have all this added pressure as well. So if you're feeling that there's thoughts that are eating away at you, or if you're feeling that there's thoughts that you shouldn't feel, that a parent shouldn't feel, drop me a line if you want. I don't mind if you want to voice it to me. That's not a problem. Everything's confidential. And, or if you want, put your story down below this video. And I hope that by me voicing how I have felt over the years, that will help you in some way. There is one other guilt, and that is the guilt. My daughter had been told she was a carrier, the same as I was. And it wasn't for many years later, when they could do other testing, that they said no, that she wasn't. But she's made the decision at the moment that she will not have children. And one day she said to me, "Mum, I couldn't do what you do." I know that she could, but I would never ever want her to go through it. So there's that guilt that maybe she's missing out because of this situation. And, like I say, there's a lot of guilt that goes along with having a child with a disability. It's not that child's fault, it's not your fault, it's no one's fault, it is just human nature. So that's it for me for now, and I'm at Browns Park here in Ipswich. I've decided I'm going to do a different park, but the physio has me just starting to do some walking, so I had to do it somewhere flat. So I thought I'd pop here today, and it's actually quite a nice park. No one's here, but it's a nice park, nice play area. So if you have somewhere that you want to bring your children and you live in Ipswich, this is where to come. Okay, and I will talk to you later. Bye.